Hey, welcome to Midweek 3-in-1. We are here again, and I'm hoping that after last week, I really hope that prayer of relinquishment became a part of your worship and your prayer time. It is the one thing that we all need so much, is to let God have control of our lives. Well, tonight I'm going to come at one that you think we ought to finish in maybe 2 minutes, because it should be easy. And that is, we're going to address silent prayer. And you know what's interesting is silent prayer in 2021 may be one of the most difficult things that we do because of our technology. You know what's interesting is if we go to the book of Psalms in chapter 46 in verse 10, the psalmist writes, "Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God." Said Friedrich Buchner wrote, "Before the gospel is a word, and the word is silence." He says, Mother Teresa said, "God speaks in silence of the heart, listening to the beginning of the prayer." You see, this understanding that silence is probably the most countercultural thing that we could ever do in our society. Many of us, for generations now, have not studied for a test without the TV on, the radio on, or our headphones on our ears. We can't survive. Even my mother-in-law, who died back in the 90s, even my mother-in-law would leave the TV on all day long just to have background noise. We are a society that doesn't like silence. The radio, the industry can't stand it. TV cannot stand it. That dead air time is just awful. You see, but Jesus in Luke chapter 4 and verse 42 went to a solitary place. He knew that he needed silence. I think the other is we fear that when we go to silent prayer, that we got to have words to say. No, that's just the contrary. Silent prayer is silent prayer. It's silent. You're going to go and do that. I think we fear the silence because we have the FOMO, the fear of missing out. We're afraid we're going to miss out on something, or we're going to find out later than our friends do. When in reality, it's no wonder we're so anxious and wound tight all the time. You know, maybe our greatest gift to the world and to ourselves in the process is to become a non-anxious presence. Just long enough to relax, take in information if it comes, question it, challenge it, assess it, and move on. So how does that give us silent prayer? We go to a silent place. Let's start with 5 minutes a day. Maybe you'll have to start with 5 minutes every other day. Start with 5 minutes. You can set a timer, but it can't be your cell phone. Your cell phone has to be apart. And if you're like me and your cell phone's attached to your wrist, then you take this off too. 5 minutes. Silence. All I ask you to do is go and sit and say, "God, I'm going to sit here for 5 minutes and listen." Maybe you'll listen to your breath go in and out. Maybe you'll look at the lines in your hands. But you will be in quiet. Because in that stillness, God can speak. If nothing else, he's going to speak a period of relaxation over you after you get past the anxiousness of not having any connections to the rest of the world. Because, see, your goal is to get this up to 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes a day. In that time, you can pray quietly in your head, not out loud for the silent prayer time. You know, maybe when you want to set a timer, or even for our own waking up and all in the morning, how about spending the money for an alarm clock? Well, why can't I use my phone? Well, because if the last thing at night and the first thing in the morning is you swiping a phone to gather information, what does that say about our priority in life? The alarm clock goes off, we turn it off, and for a moment, we're in silence. Nothing else is going on. Each and every time we have the opportunity to have silence, we can wake up in the morning waiting until we have showered, had our coffee, and spent some time with Jesus before we turn to our phone. It will wait. And in silence, God will come to us. In our stillness, we can know God. No magic words, no phrasing, no anything. You will be amazed at how in a very short amount of time, this few minutes of silence every day of your life will make you closer to God and feel more like prayer than you ever could imagine. All right? We hope to see you the next time. Remember again, you can reach us in our ministry links to do funding on the www.3in1 the fellowship.org page. Follow us on Facebook, and obviously follow us on YouTube. See you next week.